Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Wednesday, March 7th, 2018. Today I'm going to continue previewing all the college basketball conference tournaments in which the winner of the tournament gets an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. In most non-major conferences, you have to win your conference tournament to make it in unless you have a very strong resume. This podcast, I'll preview the Atlantic-10 tournament. This is one of those tournaments where you have to win the auto bid to get in unless you are Rhode Island and probably St. Bonaventures. The conference tournament is being held at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. For what it's worth, this bracket does not do reseeding. There are 14 teams in this conference, and the first round is today, March 7th. The second round is tomorrow, March 8th. The quarterfinals are Friday, March 9th. The semifinals are Saturday, March 10th. And the championship game is Sunday, March 11th. Before I get to my predictions, my picks for the first round will count towards my Maddie's picks for the podcast, but not my projected picks for the second round, quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship games. The actual second round, quarterfinal, semifinal, and championship games that play out, I'll pick those games towards Maddie's picks on the podcast those days the games are being played, just in case I get one of those first round picks wrong. And if I get one of my first round picks right, I'll carry over my projected second round picks on tomorrow's podcast, the quarterfinals on Friday morning's podcast, the semifinals on Saturday morning's podcast, and I'll pick the championship game on Saturday night's podcast. To the picks. First round tonight, 13 seed UMass against 12 seed LaSalle. UMass 12-19 on the year, 5-13 in conference play. LaSalle 13-18 on the year, 7-11 in conference play. The pick is LaSalle. 14 seed Fordham against 11 seed George Washington. Fordham 9-21 on the year, 4-14 in conference play. George Washington 14-17 on the year, 7-11 in conference play. The pick is George Washington. Second round, 9 seed Dayton against 8 seed VCU. Dayton 14-16 on the year, 8-10 in conference play. VCU 17-14 on the year, 9-9 in conference play. The pick is Dayton. Another fun subplot of this game is that both of these teams were at larges last year in the tournament, and both of these teams have been consistent winners these past couple years, but both of them lost their coaches to bigger programs in Archie Miller and Will Wade. 12 seed LaSalle against 5 seed George Mason. George Mason 15-16 on the year, 9-9 in conference play. The pick is George Mason. 10 seed Duquesne against 7 seed Richmond. Duquesne 16-15 on the year, 7-11 in conference play. Richmond 11-19 on the year, 9-9 in conference play. And I meant Duquesne, not Duquesne. I mispronounced that one. But the pick anyway is Richmond. 11 seed George Washington against 6 seed St. Louis. St. Louis 16-15 on the year, 9-9 in conference play. The pick is St. Louis. Quarterfinals. 9 seed Dayton against 1 seed Rhode Island. Rhode Island 23-6, 15-3 on the conference play. The pick is Rhode Island. 5 seed George Mason against 4 seed St. Joseph's. St. Joseph's 15-15 on the year, 10-8 in conference play. The Patriots have defeated the Hawks twice this season. I'm going to say that the Hawks get revenge here, so the pick is St. Joe's. In both of those games that the Patriots won over the Hawks were close games. 7 seed Richmond against 2 seed St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure 24-6 on the year, 14-4 in conference play. The Bonnies cannot afford to lose this game, and I'm going to say they get by the Spiders here. So the pick is St. Bonaventure. 6 seed St. Louis against 3 seed Davidson. Davidson 18-11 on the year, 13-5 in conference play. Peyton Aldridge is an absolute stud, and he'll lead the Wildcats along with underrated point guard Kellen Grady. So the pick here is Davidson. Semifinals Saturday, 4 seed St. Joseph's against 1 seed Rhode Island. The Rams recruits here led by E.C. Matthews and Jared Terrell. The pick is Rhode Island. All right, and then you have 3 seed Davidson against 2 seed St. Bonaventure. Fun matchup here with the conference co-players of the year in Peyton Aldridge of the Wildcats and Jalen Adams of the Bonnies. These teams split the regular season matchups, but I think I'm taking the Bonnies here to advance to secure at least an at-large bid, so the pick here is St. Bonaventure. Championship game Sunday, 1 o'clock, CBS, St. Bonaventure against Rhode Island. Fantastic matchup here between the conference's best 2 squads. A ton of talent in this game on both teams. I like the Rams here in a super close game led by Terrell and Matthews. So the pick here is Rhode Island. And I'm going to say St. Bonaventure gets an at-large. All right, next I'm going to preview the following tournaments: Big 12, SEC, Southland, Big East, and CUSA. No particular order. Just watch out for those podcasts for when they come out. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want notifications on when future podcasts come